Security has been beefed up in Abuja metropolis in what appears as a move to stop an impending protest by supporters of tele-evangelist Apostle Johnson Suleiman. The Department of State Security had invited the clergyman to explain his role over a statement credited to him, asking his members to defend themselves as if they are attacked by Fulani herdsmen. Meanwhile, Apostle Suleiman, while addressing the media a while ago, says that he stands by calls on his members to protect themselves from attacks by herdsmen. He also acknowledged he had got an invitation from DSS and he would honor the invitation. Security agencies are now trading blames over last Friday's escape of one of the most dreaded criminals that's in the country. His name, Chibueze Henry, aka Vampire, at the premises of an Owerri High Court, that's in Imo State. But the police simply see the development as a headache of the prison's management, under whose care the suspect was at the time of the attack. Department of State Services, on its part, is convinced that it has done its best by arresting the criminal and handing him over to the relevant authorities for prosecution. They see the escape as a failure by those that brought him to court. Sources from the police headquarters Abuja said authorities were rattled by the development and have directed all the relevant units to swing into action with a view to fishing him out and, of course, his members, the members of his gang, wherever they may be. Now, 2 Nigerian soldiers and 8 civilians have been killed in an ambush by Boko Haram terrorists. That's in Borno State. The troops were escorting commercial vehicles from Maiduguri to Damboa when they were attacked. The insurgents who hijacked the commercial vehicles and drove them into Sambisa forest. The bodies of the victims, including those of the soldiers, have been deposited at the University of Maiduguri Teaching Hospital. Now, the World Food Programme, WFP, says that it has provided nutritious foods to more than 190,000 malnourished children who are internally displaced in Nigeria's northeast. WFP Executive Director Aterine Kozin is in Nigeria to oversee operations, monitor supplies, as well as seek more donations to fund its program. She spoke with TVC News' Samna Sambo in Abuja.
It was joyful yesterday in the...
Aterine Kozin is in Nigeria for the second time to monitor World Food Programme's humanitarian intervention in the northeast states of Borno and Yobe. And after a tour to verify how food supplies are distributed to over 1 million people, she also monitored assisted cash distribution of 23,000 naira each to over 170,000 persons under families with children categorized as severe acute malnutrition, SAM. In an exclusive interview with TVC News, she gives an assessment of her trip.
The food, we have 3 helicopters that are now operating, going into the hard-to-reach areas, the newly liberated areas, the areas that are still insecure because of fighting and conflict. We are using all of our tools to ensure that we can reach those who require our assistance. But as you noted, it is not easy, but our responsibility is to overcome those challenges to ensure that people receive the food assistance they require.
The WFP witnessed a rise in its assistance to displaced persons between October and December 2016 through the provision of nutritious foods targeted at poor and vulnerable persons. On this visit, Kozin says former malnourished children have regained their health, with parents expressing happiness on the high-energy food supplies given to their kids. She seeks more donations.
They were handing me their babies to hold because they wanted me to see how healthy and feel how healthy their babies were because of the support that WFP and our partners are bringing to them. And that is what this is all about, is people who have nothing, again, have hope. What we're also asking the Nigerian government to do is to financially invest in the work that we are performing.
During her 3-day visit, the WFP chief met with Nigerian officials and promised them that the UN agency plans to establish a food hub in the country in order to cater for conflict-affected areas and other West African neighbors suffering from the harsh effects of terrorism. Samna Sambo, TVC News, Abuja.
In other stories, the wife of the president, Aisha Buhari, has organized a free medical outreach for the people living in Kogi State through her pet project called Future Assured. The outreach targeted screening and treating about 3,000 people, and of course, it's also about creating awareness on diabetes, hypertension and eye ailments, as well as the women of children. Mrs. Buhari, who was represented by the wife of Nasarawa State Governor Mairo Al-Makura, said that the initiative is aimed at complementing government's efforts at providing qualitative health care for the people. Future Assured further distributed free medicines and gave free eyeglasses to adults who needed them. To the education sector, the Academic Staff Union of Polytechnics is now set to begin its 10-day nationwide warning strike. That will be today. ASUP President Usman Duse had last week ordered the suspension of academic activities in all public polytechnics across the country between noon of January 30 and February 6, 2017. Duse said that the strike was necessary due to government's failure to implement the needs assessment report of July 2014, meant to address problems of decayed infrastructure in the institutions. But the Kaduna Polytechnic chapter of ASUP has disclosed that it will not participate in the warning strike. The state ASUP chairman, Aliyu Ibrahim, says that the chapter was not briefed on the matter and academic activities will continue unhindered. The Independent National Electoral Commission has declared Johnson Oguma of the All Progressives Congress winner of the Esako Federal Constituency by election in Edo. The former member of the State House of Assembly emerged winner with 39,876 votes to defeat the People's Democratic Party's candidate, Jude Emagwe, who had 18,193 votes. The returning officer for the election, Professor Shola Omotola, who announced the result on Sunday, said that the APC candidate won, having scored the highest number of votes cast. Omotola said that out of the 59,301 votes cast, 58,427 were regarded as valid votes and 874 votes were rejected. Meanwhile, Oguma has assured the people of the constituency of effective representation. Nigeria's anti-graft agency says that the prosecution of suspects, irrespective of their status, will always be predicated on the rule of law, irrespective and of course respect for human dignity. Acting chairman of the EFCC, Ibrahim Magu, made the commitment when he received a delegation of the National Council of Women Societies in Abuja. The coalition of women societies pledged support for the Buhari administration in its anti-corruption crusade, but tactical in his response to the Senate's rejection of Magu as substantive chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission.
We are here in solidarity with the anti-corruption fight of Mr. President. We are here to support the EFCC as an institution. Without this fight, the future is bleak. Our hope may be lost. Our advancement as a people will continue to be arrested, and I want to state that our humanity as women, as husbands, and as children would diminish.
Our activities are largely guided by the laws of the land. While fighting corruption, we are always mindful of the rights and privilege of individuals, both within and outside the government. To this end, the prosecution of all suspects, high and low, is premised on the rule of law.
Professor Yomi Oshubajo says for Nigeria to get out of the current economic recession, efforts must be made to encourage and patronize locally made goods. The Vice President made the statement in Aba while launching the maiden edition of nationwide Micro, Small and Medium Enterprise Clinic. According to him, Aba still remains the manufacturing and business center of Nigeria, but he wants manufacturers to improve on the standard of their produce.
I think that everybody sort of now understands that if we are talking of diversification, if we are talking of improving our economy, it must start from those who are manufacturing locally, those who are doing local manufacturing. Everybody talks about foreign investment, but I know, and I'm sure you know, that the biggest employers of labor. The largest accretions to our GDP come from local manufacturing and local industry.
Time will come when people will sit down in their houses and place phone calls to CAC, to NAFDAC, to say, yes, there is a product I'm conceptualizing, that is something I have produced. Please, what do I need to do to take it to the next level? Rather than see standard organization and NAFDAC as policemen and people who come to harass, people who come to set up barricades and bottlenecks, we want the ABA people to see these organizations as partners and enablers in the path towards progress and greatness.
This is the midday news on TVC News. We take a break and come back with more. Stay with us.